this. I assume is it rain?
What's going on, everybody? Let me pause this. Just watching Dirty Tesla's latest video comparing the Chevy Silverado to Cybertruck, which I've been wanting to see. But given we've got a little bit of rain that's hit us on my way to this supercharger, figured it'd be a good time to make a little video. I've been running around all day, made just over $100 today with Uber. And I was kind of planting myself in different areas, so I likely could have made more, but I was kind of being picky, wanting to drive in different spots. I got a couple of videos, mostly ride-alongs. People aren't quite as talkative when it comes to these Uber rides, or Tesla, really. But I'm sure that'll come. I mean, it wasn't everybody in California either. It was kind of few and far between that you get somebody that's like really excited and wants to talk about it. But we're on the way to a Kissimmee supercharger. I've already got the message full self-driving may be degraded. So I wanted to see how it actually performed. There were some pretty strong winds earlier. Blew the top right off of like a cigarette butt holder. So I grabbed it and I put it inside the main entrance of the Wawa just so it wouldn't blow away and hit someone's car. But yeah, I just got done taking a little pit stop. I had a good about 45-minute drive from Lake Mary to a spot called Pine Castle, off of Sand Lake Road, not too far from the 528 and the Orlando International Airport. But that ride was very quiet, and my cameras were really low charge, so I didn't really get to get any footage there. Plus, it would have been really long, so I would have had to shorten it, edit it, do a lot of stuff. But yeah, sorry, I'm kind of ranting a little bit. I like to try to get videos that'll be relatively low editing in a 20-minute or less time frame. This might be a little longer because it's about 24 minutes to this charger. We'll kind of see how it goes. But that is just mostly to kind of avoid dragged out things that just kind of make people want to tune out, because ironically enough, and this is a good thing, FSD videos can get rather boring because you're just watching the car sort of drive. So I might mess around with some of my longer trips, or like my, like 20 to 30 minute trips or longer. I might do like a 200% speed on them, so it's not too much faster. That sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. Maybe some music in the background, and that camera just turned off. I don't know why. Turn it back on. See, that's the problem I'm having. It's definitely not overheated. It is a new 512 gigabyte SIM card that is properly formatted, and that is frustrating as hell. It is nice and chill in here. There is no temperature issue, and this is an interesting edge case. This guy's just passing along in a big old tractor, which is fine. Didn't really impede us because you're already coming to a stop. Sort of lost my train of thought there. My other camera is still recording, which is good. We're inching forward. Probably should go after this Mustang. If it doesn't, I will give it a little boost, which I am. Nope, I'm not. I kind of like tapped it. Didn't have to do much there, because that little soupy behind me was putting on the pressure, man. Yeah, so probably toward the end of the month, I am gonna swap out my cabin-facing camera, which is my Hero 10 here that you guys are seeing me through, and what's connected to my microphone. And the reason it's connected is because I didn't want to have to try to run this long cord down into this mic, or into this Media Mod camera setup. Shut up. It's not even the pay attention to the road, it's just the cones. But yeah, so I'm hoping to either use a DJI Action 4 or an Action 5. Action 5 should be dropping at the end of this month. Now, I might get that. I might splurge for it depending on how much it costs and see how it compares. But I mean, the rest of today, the camera's been pretty good. Wish I knew what was causing that. I mean, I was doing some research on YouTube, and apparently the way that GoPros randomly shut off is a known and a very frustrating problem for a lot of people who have given up on GoPro. And it's outside of a heating issue or SD card issues. Again, you know, right now it's not hot at all, and the SD card is formatted and new, and it was functioning pretty well for most of the day. Hopefully it's just that one power down. The 11 hasn't had any problems since the new SD card and the firmware update, so hopefully, you know, fingers crossed, that continues to work just fine. Kind of like FSD, which we are dealing with degraded warnings and cones, which the system doesn't like. We're currently on the 417 South, which is a toll road highway. A couple of times that I've had failed customer trips or disengagements in general on FSD version 12.3.6, in case you missed the thumbnail or anything in the description, has been highway related. It's been issues, especially with I-4 through downtown. And let me tell you, there's another really annoying thing about current FSD coding on the highway, specifically I-4 through downtown, all the way through Celebration. And it's that the speed keeps on wanting to kick down to like 90K and then back up, or 80K and then back up to 106. And it does that over and over and over. Or in other words, about 50 miles an hour and then back up to about 65 miles an hour. And it keeps doing that, and I keep having to toggle up to get my speed back up. Like right now, I'm gonna tap the speed limit icon just to give us our 10% boost. Oh, it's probably doing the 110 because of the lower, the degraded weather condition. Which is probably also why it's extra paranoid about the cones. Hard to say. The cones are kind of everywhere on the visualization, though they're in a pretty good straight line here. But, I mean, aside from, these complaints, it's been performing really well, and in fact has been doing better in Florida than in San Diego, likely due to the increased amount of driving on city streets versus highway. Because in California, it was about 70% plus highway, and highway has been kind of a sloppy mess forever. It was really bad when highway was still NOA in version 10 days. Version 11 was a big improvement, but still came with a lot of highway headaches. And compared to the version 12 neural net, I mean, it's David and Goliath. I mean, smartphone to beeper, rocket ship to glider. I don't know how. Pick your crazy comparative analogy and apply it there. And that's not even the latest and greatest. Yeah, see, you should have thought about that. Yeah, you're supposed to yield in the shoulder for emergency vehicles here in Florida. I think in most places, I think it's actually the law here. So that Honda should have gotten over a long time ago and sort of freaked out right there. I get it, there's cones. All right, Mew is never this paranoid about cones, normally. So it's gotta be the degraded weather. Maybe the reflectivity on the road. Or it's just having a bad day. I don't know, our Model Y is usually the one that's super paranoid about the cones and will beep at us constantly. And none of those beeps, if you watch the video back, are about paying attention to the road or anything. Those are all like help me daddy beeps is what I call them, where I just ask you to touch the wheel. And that's pretty common around cones, construction areas and such. But yeah, I mean, largely FSD has been performing really well. I'm feeling out different regions and how busy things are. I, at some point, want to make it to Tampa, and then Fort Myers, and Miami as well. I don't know exactly what order I'll do that in. I can't really go too far right now because until we get the fence around our house, the boss wife and I have to walk all 3 dogs anytime they need to use the restroom, and leaving her to do that by herself is just out of the question. I'm not going to be that person. That would be such an ass move. So I like to help out as much as I can with walking the puppers and stuff. And right now, I like to get home around now. I'm actually heading to the supercharger and then home to get some content up. There's another help me daddy notification. But I'm trying to do the daily uploads and make sure I am a good husband and help my wife with the pups while we wait for our fence, which hopefully this week will be the week we get the permit back from the state of, or the city of Polk County, and we can, or the county and the city permits, and we can actually get the fence up. Everything else is already done. HOA approved, the contractor approved, paid for. It's just a matter of waiting for the city permit, and then Lowe's will throw it up in like a day. So that's cool. And when that happens, and the dogs can just be let into our backyard to do their business, I'll be able to go on a lot more adventures, venturing out a lot farther, because I won't have that excess burden on my wife. So yeah, I do plan to go to Miami, maybe even down to the Florida Keys. Actually, little fun fact for those of you that have enjoyed getting to know me a little bit more through the content, when I was very young, I think from ages 4 to 7, I lived in the Florida Keys. I often joke with customers that I knew port and starboard before I knew left and right, because rather than driving places, we actually had a little 24-footer and a canal in our backyard in Tavernier. We would use the boat to go everywhere. The Isla Marada Fish Co., grocery shopping, like pretty much everywhere in the Florida Keys had a spot to park your boat to then do what you got to do. So I was already helping my dad secure the boat, get the lines ready, even drive and proceed through, no wake zones, and then following the channels out to the actual ocean, whether it was bayside or oceanside. Like I was, at the helm of boats long before I was ever at the wheel of a car, which I love both. Anything that has an apparatus where I can drive it, I'm excited to do it. I just love it. Some big sort of pipe dreams for the channel, on top of, you know, getting Cybertruck, which is a bit more realistic than a pipe dream. I actually would love to get my hands on a Tesla semi-truck and do freight content and like actual real big hauling content. Because another fun fact for everybody, when I started to learn how to drive, my dad put me into a 13-speed 18-wheeler. Well, not just that, a cab. You know, it was typically a Peterbilt 389 or 379, a couple of maybe a Mack truck or a Freightliner, but he used to be a manager for a company called Huddig out here in Florida. I don't think they're around anymore, but I met my grandfather and then my father, and then, you know, I've always had this itch to scratch to want to drive big rigs. And I almost did, you know, when the California AB5 law was threatening Uber and Lyft and threatening my possible earnings by changing how Uber and Lyft function in that state. Luckily, Prop 22 won, and I know we're kind of on a rant now, so I hope you're just enjoying the story as FSD carries us along to the charger. In about another 9 minutes, we'll be there. But yeah, I almost jumped into working for Swift, which is, you know, like not really, or was it? I think it was Swift, because they pay for your CDL, but then you're stuck working for them for I think 1 or 2 years. So that wouldn't have been ideal. But yeah, all that come back around. I first started driving at the helm of a boat, and then first started driving land vehicles in Peterbilts and such, hooking up the trailers at like 7 years old and shifting through all those gears, having the seat raised up, sometimes standing partially to make sure I could see what was going on, hooking up the lines to the trailer, raising it up. I mean, you want to talk about some crazy like Southern American homeboy or homegrown kind of training. Like that was what we did. And then eventually I was driving trucks, and then eventually the sports cars, Mustangs and everything else, shifting gears. I was stick shift driving like a boss at 12 years old. I mean, probably before that. It's been a long time. Anyways, it sounds like I'm bragging, so I apologize. That's not what that was meant to be. It's all to go back to say that, yes, I would love to get my hands on a Tesla semi, and do that kind of work. You know, get my CDL, and then once upon a time, I had seen this thing called Uber Freight. I don't know if it's still a thing or what. Maybe if you have your own truck that you can haul trailers and such for people. I kind of want to do that with Cybertruck too at a lower degree, because, I mean, there were ads for, like, rideshare services hauling trailers and stuff. I don't know if that's really still a thing. Let's see if we'll get over fast enough. Highway staging. We got to get over one more time. I'm going to have to take over. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on. Yep, all right, I'm taking over. Just pushing us in, no one around us. I'm not going to bother with that voice note. It really is. There's no point at this point. So we are cruising down to 441. Relax, Mew. You're okay. You're just cones. You're fine, bud. But I guess all that, you know, tracks back to me saying if it's got a steering apparatus, I like to drive it and have fun. And I'll be able to do a lot of crazy cool content stuff like that, you know, in the future, hopefully. The semi-truck, again, that's kind of pipe dream status. That's sort of crazy and out there. Let's see if we stay in the proper toll booth lane here. I got the SunPass Pro, which is good. And yeah, both lanes are open, so we're cruising through just fine right here. Kind of coming in a little fast, and there we are on the brakes. Pretty comfortable. Cool, not bad, not bad. And yeah, both cameras are still recording. Hell yeah. This has been a pretty good drive so far. I'm enjoying where we're going. And I look forward to testing a lot more places, which was sort of where this whole conversation was going, about testing in Tampa, and eventually Fort Myers and Miami, maybe even all the way down to the Florida Keys. Maybe run through some spots, show you guys like the areas I used to live, where I went to school at Plantation Key School. Maybe even some spots around here in Florida too, if you're into that sort of thing, as we're driving around with FSD, sort of a nostalgia tour or something. I mean, if you care about that, if it's just fun content to see what's going on, I don't mind one bit. I've spent some time in Lake Mary and Deltona and Sanford today, places I was pretty familiar with. I'm pretty sure it was a Kmart on Lake Mary Boulevard. It was one of my first jobs. I don't think it's there anymore, but that's where I worked at 16 years old, man. Kind of nutty. And I think we're good. Yeah, we're tearing around these guys. Oh, yeah, of course he's going to get over, but we're going to slow down pretty decently. Oh, there you go. Mew's adapting to the lifestyle out here, just going around people. Well, I mean, that's any place where there's a lot of drivers, really. I will say, like, you know, in the last couple of weeks that I've been here, though, you know, there's bad drivers everywhere, different places sort of have different kind of bad drivers. Like, I've noticed in a lot of the areas that I'm around with the Florida bad drivers, there are a lot of people that think they're a lot better driving than they are by moving really, really fast in certain areas when they shouldn't. I've seen so many people almost spin out or hit each other, not communicating, similar to some of the style of driving I see in Vegas. California has its own kind of dumb, but it's more so, it feels like just straight up incompetence in my experience in the past. Where you're just kind of expecting somebody to be the Prius and do something really stupid and cut people off or move slow or just not pay attention. Out here, it's like the other side of the coin. Sorry about that. Both cameras turned off. You know, I need to maybe check to see if there is anything with my voice that's causing these to turn off. Power off, turn off, shut down, cancel. Just throwing out some words. Nothing. I don't know how much of that y'all missed. But yeah, every place has their own kind of bad, and I'm starting to see the Florida style of bad, which is a lot of overconfidence, fast driving, and mistakes made. And FSD's been definitely showing off around everybody. Cool. All right, we're recording. See, that time they both shut off. I went and jinxed myself, and I don't know why. This camera's at 66%. Everything's good. Neither of them are hot. They feel great. And typically, the cameras will say, camera got hot, pretty obviously, but it's not, so I don't understand. This is one of the reasons that I'm looking at the Action 4 or 5. I know that Chris with Dirty Tesla uses the Action 4 and he loves it. Chuck Cook gave me the heads up that the Action 5 is coming out at the end of the month, so I'm going to wait for that. Don't you do it. What do we have over here? Oh, a bus. Okay, cool. I've also, that's an experience I've had a lot of down in the more country, Polk County, Davenport, Haines City, Bartow areas, is the early traffic for high schools and such, and getting stopped by school buses or getting caught in that traffic, which is so bad. I'm having to relearn the times of day where the traffic is just not worth driving through, which, you know, around that area is kind of like 6 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. it seems, which is like an hour earlier than it was for me in San Diego. So, yeah, adapting and figuring things out for sure. Good lane change. Yeah, on the city street side, though, this system is kicking ass, and I really, 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 really want to get an update soon. And probably at the end of the week, I might do a RoboTaxi report. I know I meant to do one before leaving California, but things were so insane, so we're just going to have to pick that up where we left off. I don't know if I'll make it an end of the week thing or a start of the week thing, but I am definitely trying to get back into a good flow of daily content, maybe like missing a Sunday to recoup. I don't know, see how it is, but I want to funnel out as much content as possible to grow both YouTube and X. And, you know, I don't do this for the money, but the more I can grow and the more revenue that the channel or X could potentially generate if I ever qualify for revenue sharing on X, the more I'll be able to do with the channel, the more freedoms I'll have. So that's kind of the motivation there, is to grow, to be able to do more and bring more content to the audience. But I'm also a very patient guy when it comes to that. We'll see what happens. You know, I have had a lot of people asking if I'm still planning to get the Performance Model 3. I want a lot of things. I want the Model 3. I want the Cybertruck. Model 3 is a lot more attainable. Cybertruck's still really expensive. But I also have to recover from having just bought a house. So, like, we're not renting. We bought with my VA loan, and my credit is in recovery mode. So it's going to be a hot minute, I think, before I can jump into anything else. Plus, I still have to pay this car off. Resale value with the miles I have are less than what I owe. I still owe about $17,000 on this car. And selling it for that much? No. Maybe I could sell this thing for $10,000, which really sucks. It does. It's you want to talk about some value loss? That sucks. Even though I have a new battery and I've maintained it and I've upgraded things and I've repaired things, it doesn't matter in the resale world. And that's third party. With this amount of miles on this particular Model 3 2020, the price would be about, you know, $12,000 to $14,000. And I would rather keep this car and eventually get myself a second one once I have this paid off, and allow this car to generate revenue for me as a rental, and potentially part of my own, so I was making sure this camera's on, RoboTaxi fleet when that goes live. To me, the value proposition for keeping this car in the family is a lot stronger than trying to sell it just to, like, break even. That doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, anyway, I've ranted about a lot of stuff. I hope that that was valuable, or at least enjoyable, or informative, all the above. System did a really good job on the way to this Kissimmee supercharger, and I'm trying to remember if I've been to this one yet. I don't think so. It looks like it's in a really great plaza. Oh, Academy Sports. Yeah, I remember that was always to me just a Texas spot, but it's cool to see it's out here. It's a really good sporting goods store. Yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, there's a Crunch Fitness over there. My wife and I found a really awesome family-owned small town gym in Winter Haven that so far we love. It's got all the necessities. That's where I'll be training. It feels good to be back at it. I am so sore from just kind of reconditioning and sort of getting the nutrition back in order. And also, I guess last little tidbit, sort of random, I am planning to go to CYBRLFT with my mom. And that is happening in September. I forgot the exact date, but maybe I can put the picture up for everybody on the video so you can see. But I plan to be there. It'll be in Ocala, in Gainesville, which is that's just north of me a couple hours. And that'll be cool, because it'll be like a Cybertruck crazy light show and just a lot of fun, you know, having a good time in the Tesla community. That's a nice front splitter on that Model 3. But, yeah, I guess all that ranting aside, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and seeing FSD take us to this charger. I'm gonna get home and get more content out for y'all. Catch you in the next video.